Hey, I know it's been a while since you saw my face on video, but I thought I'd actually record this face to face or face to camera rather than write a post for you today. It's actually a topic that kind of came to me a couple of weeks ago, and it's around letting people down. So when I came back from holiday, literally the next morning I woke up and I was really unwell, and I noticed that instead of honoring that and allowing myself to actually be unwell and do what I needed to do to take care of myself, I immediately started blaming myself. Started thinking that I didn't take care of myself even though I was on holiday and actually rested a lot and ate really well. Um, but my inner critic just went, overboard and started just really kind of pushing and trying to find and place blame. And the blame was always going towards myself. Um, and the next bit that happened is that because I didn't allow myself to um, meet me where I was, which is being unwell and needing to prioritize my health, I started freaking out about letting people down. I couldn't teach when I finally realized that I couldn't get up out of bed, out of the couch, and even kind of, bring my arms over the head. So I couldn't obviously teach yoga. And I had to cancel a class, and it all felt really, really difficult for me to accept that I was the type of person to let people down. I always, feel like it's the most important thing for me to honor my integrity and honor my commitments, and therefore when I couldn't, I felt like I was being unprofessional, but I was also being inauthentic. Like my message was not pure, that I was somehow not living my, walking my talk. So it really shook me. I mean, I know obviously when we feel unwell, we start to, see everything with a sort of negative, filter on. But it really shook me, and I did really wonder how we can be really so strict with ourselves. And obviously it's out of a good intention and out of wanting to be better, but how damaging is it when, we can't even prioritize ourselves even when we're so sick? I mean, I was unable to come out of bed for a day, and it was still not enough for me to say, actually, I need to put myself first and not worry about how this looks to the outside world. So I wanted to sort of put it out there and kind of get you to think about, where in your life are you perhaps afraid of letting people down and therefore sacrificing a part of you, whether that's your health, whether that's your values, whether that's, your own relationship with yourself or your relationship with other people, but something that perhaps is needing to be a priority in your life, but you're not letting it because you're afraid of how it's going to impact on others. And often when we are afraid of how it's going to, perhaps people are going to get disappointed, or perhaps we're going to show a wrong side of us to the outside world, it's often a very strong misinterpretation, a very wrong misinterpretation of the opinion that other people have of us. So trust that, when you are making a decision based on what you need to do, other people will understand. And that sometimes means saying no to perhaps commitments you've made. I'm not advocating being flaky, I'm not advocating not honoring your general commitments, but what I'm advocating is starting to really take stock and acknowledge perhaps where you're sacrificing parts of you just to not let people down. And I felt very challenged when I needed to let people down, and it was because I felt like I was letting people down. So if you start to acknowledge that perhaps it's your interpretation of your, the consequences of your actions. So we think that we're letting people down, whereas sometimes all we're doing is choosing ourselves over something else, and that doesn't necessarily mean that someone will be let down. Maybe they will be, and that's when you can come in and explain yourself and be really transparent about why you're doing. So for me, it was about speaking to people and explaining the situation. Other times it might be, being really open to your friend and saying, I'm really sorry, I know we said we'd go out for dinner, but today I need to honor my energy levels and I need to stay at home and take care of myself. It might mean all sorts of things where you can actually, take a step back and say, this is really what needs to happen for me first. And when I'm able to do that, even if that means other people might not, maybe I won't act as other people expect me to, but if it means that you're acting from the heart and not from the head, not from the fear that some negative consequence of letting people down, then the people that really support you, the people that are your people, will stay. And perhaps you might see a shift in the people or the types of people that perhaps you're not willing to keep in your life anymore. Because if they're not there for you when you need to prioritize yourself, then perhaps you're able to acknowledge that maybe it's not the relationship you want to have anyway. So this sounds a little harsh, but it's something to put out there and to consider. I really thought this was an important issue to raise, because when we start making decisions and taking action from our inner self, from aligning with our inner self, aligning with that perhaps sort of subtle cues that come from inside, that come from the heart and less from fear, then we might start to have to take some difficult decisions, and this is part of it. And it does come up a lot in sessions with clients and often conversations with other people that I've had. So just wanted to put it out there. I hope this is helpful. Do reach out if you have any questions, and I'm going to see you soon. Bye!